All right, YouTube, welcome back for another brief overview into yet another SeL Omnidiver. This one is my personal, I guess, fave because this actual watch was featured on the channel in 2021 when I got it as an automatic, and it was my first foray into the SeLs. Unfortunately, at the time, it wasn't something that really worked for me, and so I had it sent back, and it was modified from an automatic to this high accuracy quartz and a few changes, which were graciously done by Andrew McLean, the owner, and the proprietor, as well as the machinist, engineer slash pretty much everything else at SeL. He no longer offers it, but this watch became the Mark 1.5, and I believe there's one more out there, where some of the improvements that were suggested by customers of his Mark 1, myself included, to make a Mark 2 variant of the watch, were kind of beta tested on this watch, and I'll go over them, and we can then gauge and see how much of an improvement it was compared to the Mark 1. And then we'll also eventually have a video up on the web, on the channel, if you will, about the Mark 2s, of which I've already got a few, and we can then see kind of the lineage of this watch as it moves. And I love that because SeL has been listening to their customers for a long time, and they make the best concerted effort for customer service I've ever seen from any other company. And remember, they're a micro brand. This is not an Omega or Rolex or Tudor, but they go above and beyond. So without further ado, let's get back into it. I'm going to move these over and just get the watch in. So this is the Mark 1.5 Omnidiver, which is a custom. It's a prototype, if you will. It's not something you can buy because it never existed for sale, but I thought I'd just showcase it here. So in here, if you notice, we have now got, so actually let me back up a bit. Same thing as all Omnidivers, except a select series of watches that were built as 50-50 hybrids with titanium and stainless steel. This is a full grade 5 titanium bracelet, clasp, body, and head. You've got a really thick sapphire crystal, grade 5 titanium bezel, and again, this watch is rated to 6,000 meters depth. And Andrew actually he built his own rig to test this out to that depth. Over-engineered, sure, but I believe that's the name of the game in tool watches for watch guys like us. So the main difference in this watch compared to the Mark 1, where it's a new dial, it's more of a visual improvement with small, subtle, I guess, functional changes. This still has the same high accuracy quartz ETA pressed drive, thermocompensated high accuracy quartz movement. We still have the same 48 millimeter diameter bezel, 46.5 or so case, 53 to 50 lug to lug, and if you can see here how it attaches, like it's got integrated lugs, but the bracelet is just so well designed that it fits in. Everything is, by the way, held in by screws, no pins, no strap pins, no anything like that. Everything is a machine screw that holds it in together. Thickness on this one too, because it is based off of the Mark 1 series, because remember, this is the 1.5, and it is the quartz. We're looking at 15.4. Now, the automatics back in the Mark 1 series had a deeper dish, kind of concave case back in order to accommodate the automatic movement. Those were a little bit thicker. I believe at around like 17 or so, or 16.5, 17. We have the same loom compound, and that has been created by SeL, which is again, for me, up there in probably the best loom I've ever experienced in terms of its longevity, its resilience, and honestly, if you charge this at night, it is a flashlight. You can actually light other things up with the loom on this thing. It's insane. We have the same crazy bezel action. right? It's just perfect. Wow. You know, it, as a bezel action guy, for me, this is the best. It's not tight, but there is no backplay because of the proprietary system in how he does it. The differences now are there's a new hand design for the seconds and the minute marker, minute hand, if you will, which now has a different design, but also allows it to be full of loom. This particular watch also has a fully loomed, let's see if I can zoom in, fully loomed hour marker. You still have the high accuracy quartz date window at like 7:30 or so. If you get an automatic, the date window is between 1 and 2, and then you have an exposed automatic jewel or the ruby right around 3 o'clock. If you notice, this one still says Mark 1 Omnidiver, which, as it was originally a Mark 1. But it has the Mark II kind of visual. This is also a new dial that was developed for the Mark II, and this is the minimalistic dial, which is now being produced as one of the options for the SeL Mark II Omnidiver. Other than that, the other functional change was you now have a monster crown. Okay, so this crown was very small and very hard. It didn't have knurling on it, so it was very hard to like unscrew, and it was also flush with the lugs, if not a little inset, so that the lugs would provide coverage in terms of damage, so they were kind of like crown protectors. This new one sticks out much further and allows guys with big fat fingers like myself to grab and unscrew. So it also allows you to do it if you're wearing gloves. And so it became one of the biggest improvements. And what that did is it forced the first link on the bracelet to have now a cutaway to allow for the full rotation of this bracelet around the crown. And again, this bracelet, spectacular. It is just a pleasure to wear, and it just gets super tight and small. It is very comfortable, and again, it's akin to what I would think is probably the most comfortable bracelet I've ever worn. And then, you know, the proprietary and I guess patented wave lock clasp, where you open it, you can adjust it. It's like 4mm spacing, and you've got this thing can go almost like a full, you know, you can go almost like a full 1.5 inches or so, which is pretty crazy. So here at actually, if I started at this one side, the very end, right, that's the largest it can get, all the way down to the tightest, right? So look how much that moves. It's almost like a full inch, if not more. It's got a built-in dive extension, and I think it's even labeled dive extension of 14mm. So you add an extra 14mm, and this watch pretty much can fit over a wetsuit, dive, and then this is perfect snap-on. So it is slim, but it allows you to have this insane amount of travel. Also, everything is wire EDM'd out of grade 5 titanium. Nothing is actually stamped or poorly welded, or, you know, nothing that's going to pop open or break from use. This is going to take the hit. This also has the old school style case back for the high accuracy quartz. Let me zoom in real quick. And it's just a flat case back. It's got your screws all the way around, right? So, because it is a titanium case back. And it's just got these like little inset rings that make it kind of easier to grip, but it's flat from the side, you can see. And that's kind of the appeal with these older Mark 1s and Mark 2s, is they are thin for their depth rating, right? Like 6,000 meters. Like, I don't know if there's any other watch out there. There might be a couple of other companies making them, but usually they end up being monumental in terms of thickness, or they just have sapphire crystals that are like an extra 1.5 inches, you know, or not 1.5 inches, but they're just thicker. This one achieves it. And one of the cool things too is this sapphire is kind of like shock insulated as well as from the movement from the outside of the case. I don't know how, I think it's like another inner case that goes into the watch that makes it so shockproof. But anyways, I mean, with the thermal compensated quartz movement, you really don't have to worry about shock because this thing can take it. So I'm going to throw this on my wrist real quick just for a quick wrist shot. But this is the watch that I've owned since 2021 and was the kind of the design, I guess, test mule for the Mark IIs. And here it is on my left wrist, which is about 7.3, 7.4, depending on the weather. And you can kind of see how it wears. Here's the side shot, right? At 15.4 millimeters thick. It sits flat completely on your wrist. There's no bulge. And I like to wear it slightly loose, and and I wear it behind the wrist bone. Otherwise, great watch. It is one of many SeL Omnidivers that I have, and these are meant to be like one-time watches most people buy. But as a true watch nerd and collector, can never have enough. So appreciate everyone's time. That kind of wraps it up on this one. Oh, actually, just real quick, every Omnidiver will come with these strap adapters, which allow you to swap out the bracelet and put these in, and you can put any strap. I've gone with a matching calf leather strap that I got, which kind of matches the motif, right? Orange and black. It's 22 by default, 22 millimeters strap adapter. But me personally, I love how this watch looks on its stock 24 millimeter bracelet. And as such, you can squeeze 24 millimeter straps like this one. This is actually 24 millimeters. And you can squeeze 24 millimeter leather rubber straps on here, up to you, or you can just rock the standard 22 millimeter strap, and that's another option. So another great way, and you can rock two-piece straps, or you can rock NATO straps or Zulus. If you just Google SeL Omnidiver, I'm sure you'll see enough photos and options of it where you should be able to make that case. So I guess that's it for right now. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate everyone. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll do my best to address all the comments. If you're interested in purchasing a SeL Omnidiver, there might be a few. Check the website or contact them directly. They might be done with the Mark IIs right now, but they are constantly improving, and I know Andrew's got some plans for a smaller Omnidiver, so that if you're looking at more of the 40 to 42, that might be your jam, versus this 48 millimeter behemoth. So appreciate everyone. Thanks a lot, and I'll check you guys out soon.